Joe Biden put out a new executive order that infringes on Second Amendment rights, and none of what he did will stop a single criminal from using a gun during the commission of a crime. Everything he did in his executive order harms law-abiding gun owners. And I think someone needs to sit down with this president and explain to him what the words "shall not be infringed" means. Nothing in this executive order will curb gun violence by criminals with guns. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we are the antidote to the daily onslaught of radical woke Marxist propaganda. So President Joe Biden issued an executive order on Tuesday that he said would get the United States as close to universal background checks as possible without additional legislation, end quote. But according to the Second Amendment, he's prohibited from doing anything that will infringe on the rights of Americans to keep and bear arms. A quick word on executive orders. Executive orders are when the Congress gives a constitutional power to the president to do something. They don't normally get into the nitty-gritty of how he's going to do it. So the president will write an executive order saying, here's how I'm going to execute the power that you gave me. Now, Biden wrote this executive order against the Second Amendment based on no power given to him whatsoever. It's unconstitutional. Joe Biden has consistently lied about the Second Amendment, saying that it's not absolute. He bases that lie on other leftists who have interpreted the late Justice Antonin Scalia's words in the Heller case, where he got into the explanation of to keep and bear arms. Scalia pointed out that to bear arms meant, according to the Vulgate vernacular of the day of the founders who debated and passed the Second Amendment, that it meant that you can carry something in the normal scenario of self-defense. Scalia didn't say that the Second Amendment is not absolute. That is a bald-faced lie, and Joe Biden and other ignorant leftists repeat it every chance they get. Scalia said that you can keep and bear arms is not absolute because there is an objective definition. In other words, you can't keep and bear a nuclear missile because you can't carry a nuclear missile and you wouldn't use one for self-defense. Remember, the Second Amendment says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The definition of infringe is to act so as to limit or undermine something. The definition of shall means must. It doesn't mean might or may. Shall not means cannot. Also, the Second Amendment doesn't limit itself to Congress. It says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It doesn't mention legislation or Congress. It is directed at the entire federal government. I mean, this is a no-brainer, folks. I'm not even going to play the video. The president wants the so-called assault weapons ban reinstated. The stated purpose of Biden's executive order is to increase the number of background checks, infringement, before firearm sales, bringing the United States as close to universal background checks as possible without additional legislation. You really can't have any legislation. I mean, it says literally the Second Amendment means that the federal government can't even hold a conversation about it officially. He says the executive order will also keep more guns out of dangerous hands. Bullshit. By increasing the effective use of red flag laws. Folks, red flag laws are the leftists' way of allowing pissed off people to get your neighbor's guns taken away from them. It means that anybody can lie to police and say, he brandished his weapon. And without any proof whatsoever, the government can come in and take your guns. This is what they're doing. The Nazis did this, something similar. So the president's cabinet under this executive order is directed to increase the number of background checks by ensuring that all background checks required by law are conducted before firearm purchases, infringement, move the U.S. as close to universal background checks as possible without additional legislation, improve public awareness, and increase appropriate use of extreme risk protection, red flag orders, and safe storage of firearms. Safe storage of firearm means that they want you to keep your weapon inside your home. Heller threw that out, inside your home in a safe, so that you can tell the people who are breaking into your home, excuse me, can you wait until I undo this safe? Folks, none of this executive order will stop a criminal from buying a gun on the street and using it to commit a crime. None of it. And they know that. President Biden, according to the executive order information sheet, has taken more executive action to reduce gun violence than any other president at this point in their presidency. Then why is there all this gun violence? If he has already, then why does he need to do more? Because they know that they're lying to you. Folks, the Democrats are never going to stop trying to take your guns away from you because they fear the fact that you're allowed to keep guns. They do. They fear it because they cannot become a total dictatorial tyranny if there's 300 million guns out there. And the problem is law-abiding people do not commit crimes with guns. That's why we call criminals criminals, because they don't obey the law. But every time a Democrat comes up with a gun control law, it does absolutely nothing to stop the criminal, and it stops the law-abiding citizen from being able to protect himself and those he loves. Anybody who tells you anything different is lying to you. Okay, thank you for watching this video. If you want to support the channel, visit rpwmedia.com and share all of our stories with like-minded people. So that's it. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you in the next one.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars, crashing in my car, wake up in a bar.